I'm Joni Jones. I am the campus dean for the Mooma College of Business, Sarasota Manatee. So when I heard we were getting the student housing here, my first thought was we have got to get the Bulls business community down here. I was at University of South Florida in Tampa when the Bulls business community came, and I was so excited to know that I could possibly bring that same experience down here to Sarasota Manatee. The programming that I'm hoping to bring, improv night. Let's make sure that you can think on your feet. So we'll get the improv instructors down here. It's a fun night anyway. Etiquette dinners, so what fork do you use for what thing, and learn how to do that and do it in a fun way. Of course, we're gonna have tutors for those very hard courses. Alumni evenings or alumni breakfasts, so you get to know what's going on. We have a huge number of alumni in this community, and so getting the students connected with the alumni, breakfast with the CEO, again, learning those soft skills so you're able to sell yourself in a short period of time that you might have with one of these very influential people in the business world. Doing the things that I just mentioned, such as having breakfast with a CEO, it makes you so much more confident in your ability to talk to somebody at a level that you're not used to talking to. A lot of it is soft skills, and we hear over and over and over from our employers, the people that are hiring our students, is I just need them to have better soft skills. I need them to be able to write a little better, to be able to present themselves in front of a client. These are things that you're going to get from a living learning community. If nothing else, they study together for their exams. I'm living with a person I'm taking a class with, or I'm down the hall from a person that I'm taking a class with. And if I don't get that concept, Jane is down the hall, I'll just go and ask her how she sees the problem or how she came across with the solution. So having that instant access, and you're going to make lifelong friends because you're living and you're learning together. Thus the name Living Learning Communities. Hi, I'm Dr. Joni Jones, campus dean for the Mooma College of Business. I cannot wait to see you in the Living Learning Community, the Bulls business community next year. Go Bulls!
Hello and welcome to USF Housing Live. I'm your host, Elizabeth Fry, the Assistant Director for Communications with Housing and Residential Education at the beautiful University of South Florida here in Tampa. We have an exciting episode planned tonight to help you prepare for college, and throughout the season we'll be talking all about on-campus housing, dining, financial aid, and so much more. So be sure to join us every other Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. to hear from campus experts and have your questions answered live on the show. So tonight we'll be joined by 3 representatives from residential education. First, we'll be speaking with the Program Director for Academic Initiatives and Living Learning Communities. And later on in the show, we'll be joined by the Assistant Director for Residential Education's Central Team. And finally, we'll be joined by a resident assistant. So be sure to drop any questions you have in the comments from wherever you're watching, and we'll be sure to answer as many as we can throughout tonight's show. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Renea Forde. She's the Program Director for Academic Initiatives and Living Learning Communities. How are you doing, Renea?
I'm good, Elizabeth. How are you doing?
Great. We are so excited to have you with us tonight. We've been getting a lot of questions about LLCs, so
I bet.
Great to have the expert in the house with us this evening.
Of course.
To start us off, why don't you just talk to us about what your role is here at USF?
Of course. So I serve as the Program Director for Academic Initiatives and Living Learning Communities here on campus. Academic initiatives are areas of campus and residential life where we host learning and engagement opportunities for students to engage with different academic facets on campus, including faculty and department mentors, so that they would be able to learn and grow not only in their classrooms, but anywhere on campus.
And we know living learning communities are such a great opportunity for students to really get involved and get plugged in. So talk to us a little bit about what LLCs actually are.
Okay, as you mentioned, Living Learning Communities, LLCs for short, are residential communities here on campus that come about due to a collaborative relationship between housing and residential education and various academic departments or student support departments here on campus. We collaborate to build a cohesive cohort-based style living opportunity for students who are pursuing similar majors, have similar career interests, or have similar special interests. They're able to live and learn together by participating in one-credit cohort classes, field trips, workshops, social and academic opportunities on and off campus to really learn and grow as a community within a community here on campus.
And I know we have a lot of different options to cater to a lot of different interests and majors. So walk us through what's available as far as LLC goes here at USF.
Of course. So we have a total of 10 LLCs throughout campus. It might be best for me to break it up by building. So in our Juniper Hall, we have the Judy Genshaft Honors LLC, which is our largest LLC. In the Poplar building, we have 5 LLCs. We have the Bulls Business Community, Zimmerman Advertising Project, which are both under the Muma College of Business. We have the Nursing LLC and the Public Health LLC. Let me repeat that. The Nursing LLC and the Public Health LLC, which are both under the College of Public Health. Okay. And we also have the Engineering LLC. Then in Beacon Hall, we have 2 LLCs. We have Stonewall Suites, which supports our LGBTQ plus students, as well as our Rising Health Professionals, which falls under the College of Arts and Sciences. And then lastly, in our Maple Hall, we have our ROTC LLC and our Education LLC.
A lot of different options, which is
Definitely,
great.
yeah.
And we have all this information also on our website too,
Absolutely.
if you want to peruse those a little bit
Yeah.
deeper. But talk to us about who's actually allowed to be a part of these LLCs. Is it just for incoming students? Can returning students be a part of them as well?
So the great thing is that on our website, we do, under our LLC page, list every specific LLC. So once you click on their page, you'll actually be able to see all of the different requirements and the type of students that they're looking for each LLC. So LLCs can be based on academic interest, career interest, or special interest. And based on that description of what kind of students they're looking for, there are maybe about half of our students that accept returning students, continuing students, so that can be students of any age group, and then there are a select few that are freshman focused. So that'll be on the page when you review the details of each LLC.
And for our students who want to join, each of the LLCs may have a little bit different requirements. So
Exactly.
it's a good idea to look through those, see what specifically applies to you and what doesn't.
Yes.
What are the benefits of being part of an LLC? I mean, it sounds like a great time, but there's also some benefits to it as well.
Yeah, of course. So I would say it's really, it's not challenging, but the benefits are so vast, and they also differ really based on the LLC themselves. So of course, with the LLC, you're able to live and learn with a community that has a similar either academic career or special interest to you. So you're already being connected with students who have a similar interest, but maybe coming from a different background, a different state, a different country. So you're kind of going through this experience with other people for the first time, but you have a solid cohort that you can connect with and grow with. Some of our LLCs offer one-credit classes. So in business and rising health professions, they take a class related to their career interests. So they're able to hear from have workshops and then hear from professionals who come in to talk about a variety of jobs in those specific areas. They also have field trips that they're able to go on and do site visits to either hospitals or places of business and marketing and advertising. So they're able to have a firsthand opportunity to engage in these experiences within their first year. So they're doing things that some of our advanced students may not be able to do until their later years. We also encourage our LLCs to host monthly social and academic events so that students are always engaged, always participating, and able to network with faculty from that college, as well as even the deans of their universities.
And the great thing about that is they don't even have to leave campus oftentimes to make those connections,
Yeah.
which is a really unique opportunity.
They don't even have to leave their building because many of the events happen within the halls.
Right there. No excuse to not be a part of it.
Yeah.
Easy access. So what about deadlines? Is there any deadlines for students to apply to be part of these LLCs?
Yes. So the returner application deadline was February 8th, or is February 8th, which I believe is tomorrow. We've been really pushing out application reminders to current students, so they should have had an opportunity to apply. If they haven't and they do come across an LLC that they're interested in applying to, they would just need to reach out to our department, Living Learning at usf.edu, and we would connect them to that LLC to determine if there's still an opportunity for them to apply. Now, our FTIC students have up until May 1st to apply. Even though that deadline is far away, LLCs are limited access. We don't have an unlimited amount of seats for everyone, so students are encouraged to apply early because it will be filled first come, first serve.
And again, I know we've had a lot of questions about LLCs these past few weeks. So if you're watching and you have questions, we have a few more minutes with Renee, so please drop them in the chat. We do have one question from Chantel, and they ask, which LLC is more for health science?
Health science students. So Bulls and Health is under the College of Public Health, and they particularly look for students who are health science majors or public health majors. So Bulls and Health would be the one for her.
And I do have a question that we've been getting over the past few weeks. You know, we had Dave on here to talk about room selection, and one question we kept getting was, you know, if I want to be part of an LLC, do I still go through that room selection process? We had that question asked so many times. We're not getting in the chat tonight, but I just want to make sure that we get that information out there for anyone who may need it.
So it's a bit of a process, so I'll start from the top. Most LLCs are the bed space are assigned by the LLC coordinators. The only LLC that is allowed to self-select is the Honors College, and that's just because it's so big. Because we are still going through the process of reviewing and placing students, room selection hasn't started yet, so our coordinators can't yet place students. So some of those students who have already applied are in holding patterns. So at this point, we encourage any student who's been given a selection date to go ahead and select a room. If you are admitted into a living learning community, you'll get an automatic email alerting you to your acceptance. And then in about a few days, you'll hear from our housing partners, and they're going to reach out to you and say, hey, we noticed you've been accepted into this LLC, but you have a room in this building. Would you like to switch? If you respond and say yes, they'll send you the necessary paperwork to do the official switch, and then they'll go ahead and transfer you.
And I appreciate you touching on that because we know this is right around the corner, so that's a really important question to get answers to. So thank you for that. As far as costs go for these LLCs, I know that can vary, so talk us through what that looks like.
So we have two LLCs that are non-fee funded. That would be ROTC and Stonewall Suites. All of our other LLCs have a small fee associated with them, depending on the level of involvement as well as services that they're able to provide. So those fees range from $150 per semester to $350 per semester. So the majority of the programs are at $150. We have the College of Nursing, which is $250 per semester, and our business and advertising programs at $350 per semester. So even though these numbers may seem steep, I promise you that a lot of our colleges and programs are putting in effort to make sure that money is well spent. So our business and advertising LLCs specifically do at least 3 to 4 site visits a semester where they have students travel to different companies to meet and network with business professionals. And a lot of those conversations and those interactions lead to students' first internships or externship opportunities. So it's really important that we recognize that even though there's a cost associated, the benefits are many.
And those connections are everything as you're making your way through college. Before we switch over to academic initiatives, if someone is interested in an LLC, how do they go about applying?
Of course. So on the housing portal, after you submit your general housing application and you pay your $50 application fee, on the actual portal under special populations, it'll be on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to click on that. And in that folder, you'll find the LLC applications.
If anyone has any questions, I mean, I know we have the requirements on our website, the specifications, but if they're wondering, I don't know if I necessarily would qualify for this LLC, how would you recommend they go about getting that answer?
They can contact us anytime. The quickest way to contact us would be our shared email, which is livinglearning@usf.edu.
Perfect. All right, switching gears a little bit, let's talk about academic initiatives. What is that?
So academic initiatives, LLCs falls under that, but these are just major program efforts that our department puts on to ensure that students are engaging in academic learning opportunities throughout their time at USF. Only a fraction of your learning opportunities as a student happen in class, so we're making sure that we are engaging with faculty and staff who are real people who are students just like you, and we love to connect students to our professionals on campus so that they are able to build these these mentoring networks, and also kind of see themselves in these future professionals. So we host events where we bring faculty members into our res halls either through events. We also have faculty fellows who are able to host events for students within res halls, and then we have our faculty in residence, which are full-time faculty members who live on campus in some of the halls and are able to offer office hours as well as lead events and meet with students on a personal level and build those relationships that they're looking for.
And that might be something that, folks haven't really heard of before. So as far as faculty and residence goes, can you talk about some of the benefits that brings for the students who are also living in that building as well?
So our faculty in residence can come from a variety of different academic interests. So even though your faculty in residence might not be from your particular academic interest, they are a current professor on campus. So they're able to see students during their office hours to talk about anything that they might have a concern with, whether it's working on a paper, developing their resume, wanting to know how to broach a conversation with another faculty member that they're interested in working with. It's just a way for them to see someone that is so mentally, students kind of separate themselves from teachers, and they see themselves as this being that they can't really connect with. So it kind of breaks down those barriers by saying, hey, this person lives in my hall. I see them every day. I see them eating at the dining hall. So I'm going to take an opportunity to get to know them and build a relationship. And from that relationship, I'm able to connect with other professionals on campus and hopefully utilize that relationship in building my future successes.
And all of these services sound amazing. Is this just for our residents on campus, or who are these services for?
So these services are for our residents on campus, but of course, we don't ever deny access to any of our residential events to general members of the USF community. So we definitely still promote widely, and we welcome anyone who comes to our events and seeks out our services.
I want to switch gears just for a second, because we did have one question come in again from Chantel, and they asked just a clarification regarding the application. Do we have to fill out two separate applications, one for housing and then one also for the LLC?
Yes, they are two separate applications.
So for anyone who may be just joining and just hearing that answer to the question, could you very briefly talk us through what that looks like?
Sure.
Again, really fast.
So for our first time in college students, I also think it's important to clarify that LLCs start for the fall semester. So if a student happens to be starting in the summer term and they're looking for housing, they do have to submit two general housing applications. They have to submit one for the summer term, where they're able to select general housing for summer B if they're entering on campus for that time being, and they're also submitting a separate application for the fall-spring academic year. Housing, the general housing application allows students to just live on campus. That is a formal contract that they're making with the housing department to remain on campus for the entire year. They will then go ahead and select special populations in their housing portal in order to submit a LLC application for one to which they qualify.
Perfect. Well, I know the questions are out there, but everyone seems to be quiet tonight. So if they watch this later, they have questions, they need some clarification, what is the best way for them to reach out to your office?
Easiest way is email. So livinglearning@usf.edu. I monitor that address personally along with my academic coordinators. So we're happy to answer any questions that come in. And if we can't answer it directly, we'll always connect our inquiries with the specific coordinator of the specific LLC they're looking for.
Awesome. Well, Renee, we appreciate your time so much. Thanks so much for being with us.
Happy to be here.
Well, if you have any questions for Renee, feel free to shoot her an email, but we will be right back with more USF Housing Live right after this, so don't go away.
Welcome home to Cypress Suites. Cypress Suites consists of two 5-story buildings located at the corner of USF Genshaft Drive and Holly Drive on the north side of campus. Here, you get the experience of living in a residential community while having a more independent lifestyle. Units in Cypress Suites consist of 2 double occupancy rooms which share a bathroom that is cleaned weekly by our custodial staff. Each room comes furnished with a bed, desk, chair, and dresser for each student. There's also built-in closet space for each student to use. On each floor, Cypress residents get to enjoy a community lounge area and a shared kitchen space, where you can cook your favorite meals. If you aren't in the mood to cook, there's multiple dining hall options for you to choose from. One option is Argos Exchange, which is right across the street. Here, you can use a meal swipe to get a meal and fountain drink from different rotating restaurant options, or you can choose from their wide variety of delicious smoothies. Right next door to Argos Exchange is the Bulls Express convenience store if you are looking for something more grab and go. Another nearby option, The Hub, is located just a short walk away in the Village. This all-you-care-to-eat dining hall features a wide variety of selections to meet various dietary needs and preferences. When it's time to do your laundry, visit the Cypress E-Community Building. You can use quarters or load funds onto the Speed Queen app with your phone. The choice is yours. When you have some free time and want to be active, grab a tennis racket and head to one of the courts right outside. To learn more about our housing options, visit usf.edu/housing. Get ready to live the Bulls life.
Welcome back. If you're just now joining us, this is USF Housing Live. We're here to help you learn how to live the Bulls life here at USF. So ask us your questions in the comments and we'll answer them live on the show. Now I'd like to introduce Becca Eisenstein. She's the Assistant Director for Residential Education's Central Team. Becca, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So why don't you just start by telling us who you are and what your role is here at USF?
Yeah, so again, I'm Rebecca Eisenstein. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as one of 3 of our area assistant directors. So I oversee kind of the day-to-day living in our residence halls and directly supervise our residence life coordinators.
Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what residential education is? I know it's our life, we live it, but for folks who are watching, talk to us about what that is.
Yeah, so residential education is responsible for the on-campus living experience. So everything from implementing our residential curriculum to making sure our facilities are everything we want them to be, everything our students want them to be, making sure that it's just a really great living experience while students are living in our residence halls with us.
I know we have a lot of different leadership opportunities here for students, so let's go through some of the different opportunities, employment. What is an RA? I know that seems like such a simple question, but what is that?
Yeah, so RA stands for resident assistant. We also have community managers who specifically work with our Greek population. And resident assistants and community managers are peer educators in our halls. So they live with our students. They make the residence halls the best place to live, the best place to learn. They are really like the bread and butter of our learning-centered living environment. So they also connect with students. They help students on their journey as they're living with us. They implement our residential curriculum. They have intentional conversations with our students, but they also put on programs and make sure people are having fun. And they serve on call and make sure that our halls are safe. So they do a lot of those day-to-day pieces behind the scenes, making sure that our halls are where people want to be.
And we're going to get to talk to an RA in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But in addition to RAs, we also have RLCs in our buildings as well. So what are RLCs?
Yeah, so RLC stands for Residence Life Coordinator. So our Residence Life Coordinators oversee the day-to-day operations of all of our communities on campus. So they supervise the resident assistants and community managers, but they also are master's level professionals, pro staff members who oversee the student success piece of living in the halls. So they are really fostering that sense of home, and they're responsible for making their communities feel like home. So they're the people who, you know, when something happens, they're going to be the people who are there during the day, middle of the night. They serve on call, right? And they really make sure that the halls are, like I said, where people want to be, but also make sure that our resident assistants have the support that they need also.
Really bringing that building together like a family. And if you can't tell, we love our shorthands here. So what is RHA, Becca?
Yeah, so RHA stands for Residence Hall Association. So our Residence Hall Association is our large-scale programming body for the entire residential student population. So they host a bunch of large-scale events, So in the beginning of the year, you'll hear Grow Your Friendship, which is like where students can come and plant little plants, and then they can have them grow with them throughout their on-campus journey.
Oh, that's awesome.
They host a homecoming block party. They host Res Fest, paint nights. They just had a paint night where people came out and got to do like a painting with a guided painter. So people had a lot of fun doing that. And it's also the voice for our residential student body. So anytime students have any concerns they want to share, we recommend that they go to their area council, they go to RHA, and they bring those up, and also ideas. So if they have ideas for things they want to see in the halls, go to RHA, tell RHA. RHA can usually make it happen, or at least influence making it happen.
Is that something that's fairly easy for students to get involved in?
Yeah, very. We recruit every semester, all semester. So anytime that somebody's interested, reach out to your residence life coordinator or your RA, and they'll be able to get you in touch with the advisors who can get you plugged into RHA.
That's awesome. I know we have a lot of different leadership opportunities here in residential education specifically. So what am I missing? Tell us about the other opportunities we have.
Yeah, so we have a new one that we brought back this year called the National Residence Hall Honorary, which is a service learning focused honors council. So National Residence Hall Honorary, you need a 2.75 GPA, and we just finished our first recruitment cycle for it, and we're going to be recruiting again next semester.
And talk to me about who's able to be involved in all of these different things that you've listed off. Is there different requirements? Is it just open to residents? How does that work?
If you live with us, you can get involved. So, of course, anyone can attend our events, like Renee was talking about earlier. But to be on, our programming board with RHA, or to be an RA, since they live with our residents, you do have to live with us in order to be a part of this.
Talk to us about how this benefits someone being a part of these programs or being a leader while they're here at USF.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of benefits, but a lot of the time, so our resident assistants and community managers, for example, we have specific competencies that we actually work with our RAs and CMs to make sure that they understand, like, as a part of your role, as you're doing these things, here are some skills that you're gaining that are directly transferable to the workforce that you're going to be going into after college, right? So we have our residence life coordinators work with them in their staff meetings and put on workshops with them, and we make sure that it's much more than just a job, and make sure that they're really learning as they're living with us and working with us. As for our other leadership opportunities, they each have kind of a different aspect, right? So NRHH, you really get that service component. So if that's something you're looking for in your experience, that's a really great way to get it. And RHA, you get to be a part of something bigger than yourself, right? You get to actually really influence change and then talk about those experiences and gain your leadership skills as you're doing that. And event planning, right? You definitely get some event planning with RHA. Each one brings a little bit of a different piece for what somebody might be looking for, but we also can adapt experiences. So if somebody comes in and says, I am in marketing and I want to be a part of RHA, great, we have a marketing position on our e-boards, so they can do that, right? They can apply for that position and use something a little more specific to what they're hoping for after college, too.
Great resume builder. That's always a plus. And I know that there's a lot of great opportunities for students who want to be those student leaders, but maybe there's some residents where, like, that's not for me. I don't even know if I really want to attend the events because I don't know many people, but talk about how beneficial these events are for our residents to really get plugged in.
Yeah. Community building is one of our key competencies, right? We want people to be able to feel like they're at home when they live with us. So if that means that you're somebody who wants to come and just pick something up and take it back to your room, that's okay, right? Come and get your painting, right? Come and get your supplies, take it back to your room and do it. Maybe you're best friends with your roommate and you just want to hang out with them. You can do that. But if you really want to meet some other people, we also have a lot of opportunities that kind of like foster that and allow us to help guide you to that. And your RA, your RLC, we assistant directors, we know people in the communities and we want to help you. So if you're interested in something or you have a specific major as you're talking with us and you share, an interest that you like, we might know somebody who has that same interest who you didn't even know lives down the hall from you. So we're able to foster some of those connections.
That's why it's great to just talk to people, and you never know where those connections may take you. Becca, if someone's listening today, they want to get involved in one of these different programs or they want to be an RA, what is the best way for them to reach out and contact?
Yeah. So our general housing email or calling the housing office is a great way to get in touch with your specific residence life coordinator. But checking our website, we actually have it all broken down by area, so you can find your specific building, find who your residence life coordinator is or your assistant residence life coordinator, and you can email them or give them a call and talk to them directly. For our leadership opportunities, reaching out to our graduate assistant or our assistant director who's specifically over our leadership programs, you can reach out to them, and both of their contact information is also on our website.
And just for students who may be coming in, I know we're going to talk to an RA in just a second, but for incoming students who are like, I can't be an RA yet, but I want to, when will that process generally begin for them?
Yeah, so we have recruited for next year already. We got to start early. But so for the following year, those applications typically open early in the fall semester, and it's an application process, and then there's a workshop that you would complete in your spring semester, and then you hear by March for the following year, because we start training in August.
Got to be prepared.
That's right.
Of course, we'll have all that information on our website too. So, but keep an eye out for those applications that go live in the fall. Becca, thanks so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, and if you have any other questions, just reach out to the housing at usf.edu and we'll direct you to the right place. We have one more guest for this evening, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more USF Housing Live right after this.
Hello, my name is Itoro Upong. I am an international student from Nigeria. This is my second year at USF. My major is health science, and this year I am residing at Maple Bee Hall. Some of the ways I'm active on campus is that I am an e-board member for a club called Pre-Health Association of Minority Students. I am the treasurer for that club. Also, I actively volunteer with USF Rotaract, which is a college-level Rotary club. Apart from that, some of my extracurriculars is that I go to the gym every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday with my friend, and sometimes I do Zumba. I like to live on campus because of the ease of everything. Everything is close to me, including the dining halls, my classes. I don't have to do a commute to school. Also, when I just want to relax at the end of the day, I can always go to the MSC, which is very close by, and have events that take place late at night. This scholarship really helps me because it helps to ease the cost of college. As an international student, the price of college is usually higher for us, so the scholarship has really helped me and my family. My advice for future applicants is that when they come to USF, they should take their time to find their community and really integrate themselves into the campus so that when it's time for them to do the application and they write the essay, the authenticity of their experience can really show through what they are writing. To the people that donated money to this scholarship, I just want to say a huge thank you because you guys have been very instrumental for me to continue my education here in the United States and at USF. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Bubbles.
Welcome back. For our final guest this evening, I'd like to introduce Aidan Duclos. He's a resident assistant here at USF. Aidan, thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We are super excited to talk to you. So just start by telling us who you are and what you do here at USF.
Sure. So my name is Aidan Duclos. I am a second-year RA and senior-year marketing major. Last year, I served as an RA in Magnolia Community, and then this year, I'm in Poplar Hall in Pod 4300.
So you must like it if you came back for more.
Yes, for sure.
So in total, how long have you been an RA then?
About a year and a half now.
And talk to us, about what being an RA looks like. So what kind of responsibilities do you have? What does your day-to-day look like? How does that work?
Sure. So it's a very hands-on job. You're working very closely depending on what your community is, with your residents. So last year, as an example, I was in apartment-style living in Magnolia. So that's, I was in charge of 2 floors, and there's just different apartments of 4 people each. It was just long hallways, not a lot of common areas to go to. So you had to get kind of creative with how to interact with your residents there. It was a lot of event planning and stuff like that. But this year in Poplar, that's a suite style living. That's a lot more fun. Kind of get to hang out with your residents, see them every day, and plan events, right in the common area, so you barely have to leave the building.
Would you say events are one of the major responsibilities of being an RA, or?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, you're largely providing advice to your residents with various things. So that can range from typical USF stuff to just college questions. A lot of times they're trying to figure out their different career tracks, or just, life questions in general too. They'll come to you with all kinds of different situations, and they're like, how would you approach this? So it just kind of depends on the day and where you're placed.
And you could be the first face that students may really interact with when they actually come into the building, meet you, and your job is to really bring that floor together, that group of students together. So how do you build that sense of community and really create a group of people that want to be together?
Good question. So I think it kind of is split into two different sections. First, there's individually. You really have to know how to read people well and kind of figure out whether this person's more of an introverted person or an extrovert, and then play to their strengths, right? And then that goes into more of a overall group setting too, knowing which of your residents would probably get along versus which of them probably wouldn't as much, and then maybe introduce them to each other if they're having trouble meeting people on campus. Just figuring it out as you go, I think, is a big part of it.
Now, being an RA, it's a fun job, but it is a job. So talk to me about how you balance that job, those responsibilities, along with all your academic responsibilities as well.
Sure. So it's really, really helpful to schedule out. Google Calendar is a huge part of my day. I also keep a whiteboard in my room to keep notes of, my weekly excursions and things like that. But I think very much there's kind of a struggle with figuring out what to prioritize. Sometimes you might get in situations where your resident is really going through something serious that you have to help them with, but maybe you have an exam due the next day. So planning ahead is a huge thing. Trying to stay a few days ahead of whatever is due is key. And then just remembering that you're a student first and RA second, but also you're there to support your residents too.
And I know that this is a growth opportunity when you become an RA for you individually, as much as you're pouring into other people as well. So how has this position really impacted you both personally and also professionally?
Sure. So personally, it's been really helpful with managing my time and also just figuring out where my strengths and weaknesses are as a person. It's a job that puts you into a lot of unexpected positions, but that's the fun part of it, is you kind of get to figure it out. I equate to solving a puzzle, right? You're kind of just every day is a new challenge, and you get to kind of figure out something new as you go. Professionally, it's definitely helped. I did not have half of the leadership skills that I have now because of this job, and so I think that if you're someone who's curious or hoping to get more involved in a professional setting in terms of leadership or management styles, definitely applying to be an RA is a good idea.
Now talk to us about, what you would say to an incoming student. Maybe, this is their first time stepping foot on campus. I'm sure that throughout your time as an RA, you may have had to have those tough conversations or be there for students who are struggling. So what encouragement would you give to incoming students, or what advice would you have for them?
Sure. I think it's kind of cliche, but just stepping out of your comfort zone is a big one. Another thing I'd like to tell people is you're a student first, but you're also here for 4 years, and that 4 years should be to figure out who you are first. I think that there's a lot of pressure to kind of just always do everything and be super involved, and maybe that's not you. But I do recommend it because I think that getting involved on campus is huge. It definitely helps you make new friends, and these are people that you could be working with for the rest of your life. A lot of my RA staff members that I've had from previous years and from this year, I like hang out with regularly outside of the job. It's just a really fun experience. And being in college is fun. It only happens once for most people, so got to take advantage of it.
What's been your favorite part of this whole RA experience?
Probably seeing the success stories from like different residents. I've had residents that come in that are like super anxious, maybe they're really introverted people. And then by the end of the semester, they're like, going to every single club and organization. They're on like the e-board for 2 different groups or whatever. Just like seeing the gradual change and shift from getting here first on their first day to just kind of exploring, getting out of their comfort zone and really spreading their wings is a lot of fun.
If we have someone who's watching who's like that, maybe I could do that, I don't know, a little unsure of it, what would you say to someone who's maybe considering becoming an RA?
Definitely come in with an open mind. I think that from when I started, I had this idea of what the job was going to be, and it's very different from my expectations, but it's a good thing too. It really helps you get perspective on life too, because in dealing with residents, sometimes they might come to you with really like personal things, and so that's really helpful to kind of make you realize that we're all going through a battle that most people will never see, and so it teaches you how to be an empathetic person and how to be a good leader.
And I know that Becca, before she left, she told us that the applications will open in the fall for
Yes.
Next year, or 2 years from now, because next year's already taken care of. But you've already been through this process, so talk to us kind of what the RA recruitment process looks like and what that experience was like for you.
Sure. So I'll be honest, the experience changes every year. I came in around the time when the COVID-19 pandemic was ending. At that point, it was still online recruitment for the most part, so my experience was very different. But recently, we've been doing the application process, and then they'll go through RA workshops, which is a lot of fun. It's less like an interview and more like an RA simulation, I like to call it. You're put in a lot of different scenarios where you might face on the job or situations that you'll face on the job. And it's a really good kind of practice run before you get the job itself. And then from there, you kind of just figure it out as you go. And yeah.
Well, Aidan, we appreciate you giving all this insight. It's really awesome to hear how this has benefited you, but we also appreciate everything you've done for the residents in your area. So if someone's watching today, they say, you know what, I want to be like Aidan, I want to have a RA position. Who should they reach out to?
If you're on campus, you can talk to your current RA or your RLC. And then you can also reach out to RA Select at usf.edu. That is the go-to email for any RA application questions. As Becca said earlier, the applications for next year have closed, and if you're an incoming student, you have to wait until you've lived on campus a full year to apply. But that would happen the year after. And you can also talk to, you can go on the website for housing and find the application there or on the housing portal.
Awesome. Well, Aidan, we appreciate you. Thank you for being a great RA, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.
And of course, if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to our office by email at housing@usf.edu or by phone at 813-974-0001. We'll point you in the right direction. Be sure to join us on February 21st at 6 p.m. for the next episode of USF Housing Live, where we will discuss dining here on campus. You can watch on our Facebook or YouTube page or the USF Parent and Family Engagement Facebook page. USF Housing Live is produced by Housing and Residential Education at the University of South Florida in Tampa. Our motto is best place to live, best place to work, best place to learn. Thank you to tonight's guests for joining me this evening. Thank you to our production crew, to you, our viewers, and of course, there's always just one last thing. Go Bulls. Good night, everyone.